Good day. I will be looking at the Pan-Caribbean ethos of Nalo Hopkinson's Midnight Robber and whether it is evoked by Trinidad and Tobago or Jamaica. The Pan-Caribbean perspective offers a view of the region as it is held by territories that identify as belonging to the Caribbean. The ethos is reflected in the way of life of a people, which is often a result of ideology and history. When discussing the Pan Caribbean ethos, one speaks about the region's history, colonization, and development from a Caribbean perspective. This has been done by various Caribbean authors, including Nalo Hopkinson. Within these works, readers feel a sense of familiarity because of the incorporation of these elements that belong to the Caribbean territories. These elements mark these territories as Caribbean and even distinguish them from other countries in the world. The Pan Caribbean ethos of the science fiction novel Midnight Robber resonates with the Caribbean reader, despite the novel not being set in the Caribbean, because it evokes a sense of familiarity with the region's history and culture. The science fiction genre allows for the exploration of the cultural elements of a people. Nalo Hopkinson's Jamaican heritage is clearly represented in Midnight Robber. However, cultural and historical aspects of many other Caribbean territories, especially Trinidad and Tobago, are prominent and all help to evoke a pan-Caribbean ethos. Jamaica. Toussaint's mirror planet is named New Halfway Tree and references the parish Halfway Tree of Kingston. The penal colony of New Halfway Tree is a shadowy replica of both Jamaica and Toussaint, a space in which the processes of colonization, discrimination, and exclusion replay themselves through a number of metaphors like the barren land, labor culture, and the marginalized natives. Whereas Halfway Tree and Toussaint have significantly progressed from colonization and discrimination, New Halfway Tree has not. New Halfway Tree mirrors the Caribbean's colonial past, whereas Toussaint is an imagined and advanced future. Halfway Tree is like the halfway point in the social and economic development between the Caribbean's colonial past, represented by New Halfway Tree, and the Caribbean's imagined future, Toussaint. Halfway Tree bridges the gap between the two extremes of dystopia and utopia and is a reflection of the current developing nature of the Caribbean. Nanny, the artificial intelligence, is named after Granny Nanny or Queen Nanny, the Maroon leader who freed several slaves in Jamaica and fought successful wars against the British. Nanny has become a mythical figure in Jamaican culture. Nanny was said to have supernatural powers that drove fear into the heart of the British. Queen Nanny has become a legendary figure that represents the strength and power of the Black Caribbean woman due to her military, maternal, and mystical ways. The heroic and mythical aura surrounding Nanny in Jamaica parallels Hopkinson's artificial intelligence in Midnight Robber as an omnipresent, godlike guardian. Nanny's magic is exchanged for advanced technology in the science fiction genre. The artificial intelligence Grande Anansi nanotech interface ensures that the people of Toussaint are safe and maintains its utopian status. Queen Nanny's stance against the British in defense of her people is encapsulated in Hopkinson's artificial intelligence, who upholds the laws of Toussaint and even manages to make her way to New Halfway Tree to attempt to right the wrong done to Tantan. She serves as a maternal protector of the people of Toussaint. This refashioning of the Jamaican heroine as a protector of the Caribbean descendants on Toussaint captures a sense of the pan-Caribbean ethos of Midnight Robber. The Roland calf is often a duppy of a wicked person who brings misfortune. The notion of the duppy originated in Africa. The concept would have passed down through the oral tradition of storytelling in Jamaica. In Midnight Rubber, the folkloric rolling calf from Tucson inspires the colonists of New Halfway Tree to name an animal after it, as it reminded them of the tale. The exiles brought their culture and stories from Tucson to New Halfway Tree, just as the enslaved managed to retain some aspects of their culture through folk tales. The reference to Jamaica's rolling calf adds to the pan-Caribbean ethos of the novel, as it foregrounds the science fiction narrative within the cultural mythologies of one of the Caribbean territories. However, while Jamaican influence is undoubtedly important to the overall Caribbean essence of the text, allusions to the history and culture of Trinidad and Tobago feature prominently and also give the reader a sense of pan-Caribbean ethos. Carnival is a defining cultural event in Trinidad and Tobago. The adaptability of Carnival, a festival which celebrates freedom of expression and representation, makes it empowering to people. On Tucson and New Halfway Tree, Carnival's adaptable, dynamic, and expressive nature is empowering and symbolic of the Caribbean colonizers' diversity and heritage. Juve has a rule in the alternate universe of Midnight Robber that prevents Quashi from refusing to fight Antonio. Carnival therefore contributes to the plot of the story and allows the men to express themselves within the supposedly safe confines of the stick fighting competition. Carnival also inspired one of Hopkinson's ferocious creatures on New Halfway Tree, the Mako Jambi. Most importantly, the celebration of Carnival on Tucson gives the protagonist, Tantan, the opportunity to learn about the Carnival character, the Midnight Robber. Tantan's fascination with the Midnight Robber comes full circle during New Halfway Tree's Carnival, as the event allows her to don her Midnight Robber garb and confront her traumatic rape, unwanted pregnancy, and Janisette as the Robber Queen in the midst of Sweet Bones revelers. The Midnight Robber in Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival would often spin boastful and powerful tales of himself and his exploits. His speech or robber talk imitates the slave master and is highlighted by the poem Stolen by David Findlay, which was selected by Hopkinson to preface Midnight Robber. The Midnight Robber often boasts of a great or royal ancestry, which possibly inspired the title Robber King. The Robber King describes an identity which was lost because of slavery and speaks of his escape from the plantations, but not the New World. This character and the use of the slave master's language in his speech forges a powerful identity in the New World. The Robber King's story parallels Tantan's, as she was exiled to New Halfway Tree, and then from Junja after killing her father. The Midnight Robber character embodies the voices of the slaves and their descendants throughout Caribbean history, thus contributing to the pan-Caribbean ethos of the story. The Robber Queen is the female counterpart of the Robber King. While the Robber King empowers the black man, the Robber Queen empowers the oppressed black woman. The Robber Queen allows Tantan to grapple with the horror of her sexual exploitation. It is the Robber Queen who defends Tantan by killing Antonio. This violence against a black woman is evocative of Caribbean history and the violence that the enslaved African woman suffered on the plantations. The Robber Talk empowers Tantan by giving her the ability to speak out after being violently disempowered. Tantan's Robber Talk commands the attention of the crowd and overpowers Janisette's accusations. Tantan's Robber Talk is empowering and cathartic, as she is able to cast aside her feelings of guilt and shame. Her split personality emerges, thus showing the healing of a mental psyche. Dwen is used by the exiled humans to refer to the sentient natives of New Halfway Tree. Dwen in Trinidad and Tobago's folklore are the spirits of the children who are not baptized or christened. They wear triangular-shaped hats, and their feet are turned backwards. These lost souls lure living children who are not baptized away, thus making them lost as well. Naming the indigenous civilization of New Halfway Tree Dwen evokes the sense of being lost. The humans view the Dwen as inferior, and the Dwen anticipate conflict with the humans based on the way that the exiles behave, even toward each other. It is noteworthy that the indigenous fauna of Tucson was destroyed in order to make the planet habitable for humans. Issue references the Mako-Jambi, Dwen, and Jambi bird as indigenous to Tucson. They are all animals inspired by Trinidad and Tobago's Carnival and folklore, which have become extinct on Tucson because of colonization. Tucson's mirror planet, New Halfway Tree, is in the process of being colonized, and so the Dwen may be right to fear the human colonizers. This echoes the European colonization of the New World and the atrocities that befell the indigenous civilizations. While Midnight Robber's Pan-Caribbean ethos is largely influenced by Jamaica and Trinidad and Tobago, the cultures of other Caribbean territories are also present. This allows for a wider representation of the Caribbean region, despite being united by the term Caribbean and having a similar colonial history. Midnight Robber highlights the unique cultures and identities of Caribbean countries. This allows for a more accurate representation of the Caribbean. Hopkinson manages to instill a sense of pan-Caribbean ethos in Midnight Robber by showcasing the Caribbean as a region with a homogeneous colonial history, but a rich and diverse cultural landscape. The utopian planet Toussaint is named after Haiti's revolutionary hero Toussaint Louverture. This planet is technologically advanced, encourages equality and diversity, and provides comfortable living conditions free of manual labor or backbreak. The planet resembles the conditions that Toussaint Louverture attempted to foster among the discordant groups within Saint-Domingue, which include the former enslaved people and their former slave masters. Toussaint is a place where everyone can feel like they belong and have a home. The development of Toussaint through the science fiction genre allows the Caribbean region to imagine a future of comfort for themselves while the region is still developing. Joncanu is a reference to a prominent celebration in the Bahamas that grew out of the seasonal breaks that were granted during the Christmas period to the slaves on Boxing Day and New Year's Day. While the history of Joncanu varies, one of the prominent beliefs is that it was started by John Canoe, a legendary West African prince who outwitted the English and became a local hero. The heroics of John Canoe against the oppressors, as well as the rivalry of the slaves, makes this a culturally significant festival which sheds light on the history of colonialism in the Bahamas while celebrating the spirit of the Bahamian people in spite of the trauma of slavery. Grenada is also referenced in the novel through the Marisho Corporation, which is responsible for bringing the settlers to Toussaint. Marisho is an allusion to the Grenadian politician T.A. Marisho. The allusion to the Grenadian politician places the Marisho Corporation in Midnight Robber in a position of power as the colonizer of Toussaint. Marisho, the Calypsonian, also maintains the power structures on Toussaint because of his contribution to the artificial intelligence Nani. This illustrates Caribbean people as self-empowered and technologically advanced, which is an imagined future for the developing region. The allusions to elements that are unique to each of the Caribbean territories allows for each territory to stand out and be represented rather than be lost in the grouping of the overall term Caribbean. The country's differences, even if they are small, allow them to be distinguished, yet their similarities are also noted, thus identifying the Caribbean as a region without allowing the uniqueness of each territory to be lost. Given the fact that Midnight Robber has a Caribbean author, it manages to evoke a stronger pan-Caribbean ethos than one described by a writer not of the region, who may not be able to capture the distinctions among the territories and may resort to stereotyping. Each allusion has a certain resonance within the narrative as they invoke Caribbean history and culture, thus allowing Caribbean readers to identify with a futuristic alternate universe. The Pan-Caribbean ethos is not simply evoked by any one Caribbean territory. It is not purely Jamaican just because Nalo Hopkinson was born in Jamaica, nor is it solely central to Trinidad and Tobago because of the title. Both Caribbean territories, though undoubtedly prominent in the story, only partially contribute to the Pan-Caribbean ethos. The Pan-Caribbean ethos is also evoked by other Caribbean territories such as Haiti, Bahamas, and Grenada. It is the presence of cultural and historical aspects from numerous Caribbean territories that most powerfully expresses the Pan-Caribbean ethos of Nalo Hopkinson's Midnight Robber. Thank you for listening.